Part 2. I just want to be a quiet Tianlong person. Author, Dai Tianlong. Chapter 11. Grabbing Kemi's fishtail, Chulan directly carried her forward. Along the way, she was not lying head down, but flexibly arched her waist, as if Chulan was not carrying her, but supporting her to walk. The waist's strength and flexibility are directly stretched. No wonder mermaids are so expensive, yet so many nobles flock to them. Looking at the man walking towards her step by step, Nami took 2 steps back in fear. Sanji immediately stepped forward, like a gentleman, blocking all dangers in front of Lady. "Stop there, I won't let you hurt Miss Nami." Bang! Chu Ian's idle right hand was swung out at will, and at a speed far exceeding his reaction ability, he slapped him on the face. His whole body was directly slapped away. After spinning 360 times in the air, he hit someone in the distance. A large amount of dust stirred up on the wall. "Sanji," Nami exclaimed. "Sanji, are you okay?" Luffy shouted and was about to rush forward to attack Chulan. "How dare you attack my companions?" Chulan wiped her hands. "What's wrong with your companion who beats you? You can only do it to others, but others can't do it to you. If you fall behind, you will be beaten. You are a pirate. Isn't that what everyone calls for a beating? I just shouted empty words to the people, but I actually did it. Luffy, the protagonist's halo is useless to me." The above are Chu Ian's short-term psychological activities. Of course he will not say such devaluation. Now the Straw Hats and the others are simply the soft persimmons he exposes to Maragio, and he can pinch them as much as he wants. What's more, he has no ill intentions towards the Straw Hats. After all, they are the protagonist group with relatively positive views, but nothing can disturb me from picking up girls. Luffy. Zoro quickly stepped forward and stopped him. "Don't act rashly, Sanji is fine." Zoran is well aware of Chu Ian's strength. He let himself go before, and then let Luffy go, which shows that he has no ill intentions towards them. Moreover, he didn't draw a sword at all just now, which shows that he didn't want to kill anyone. Cough cough cough, a coughing sound came from the ruins, and Luffy rushed over. He swatted away the disturbing flies, and Chulan walked to Nami again, and their bodies were close to each other. This time Nami didn't dare to back away. She looked up at the sharp-edged face in front of her, which was very in line with her own aesthetics. She forced herself to suppress the fear in her heart and asked with a straight face, "My lord, what do you want?" "What do I want?" Chulan smiled and said, "Shouldn't I be the one asking you this? What do you want?" "I want my friends." Nami looked at Kemi who was doing sit ups. "No problem, what price can you pay?" Nami's face lit up and she said, "How many Baileys do you want?" "According to the price of the auction house, we can offer 70 million, no, 100 million Baileys." Nami suddenly put on a pitiful look. "I know this little money is nothing to you, sir, but this is all our savings." "Haha, what about fooling around? Your total savings are only 100 million Baileys. The remaining 100 million was eaten by Luffy? He is indeed a little wildcat who regards wealth as his life. He still dares to bargain at this time. If it were someone else, maybe I was deceived by her superb acting skills. Unfortunately, I am not a local." However, Chulan didn't care about her little thoughts at all. Isn't it because of these little thoughts that Nami is Nami? It means a lot. He smiled and said, "A teacher named Ma once said that he was not interested in money. Similarly, now I am also not interested in money." Nami suddenly became a little desperate. Yes, money is nothing to him. An ordinary celestial dragon can offer 500 million belly for a mermaid. And the person who offered 500 million was lying on the ground with blood on his face. On the ground, he was still beaten by the man in front of him. "What do you want?" Nami asked, "What conditions do you have to meet to let my friend go?" "Very simple." Chulan stretched out a finger and asked, "How much did I spend to buy this mermaid girl?" 100 Baileys, Nami replied, and then smiled bitterly. Yes, it only cost 100 Bailey to buy a mermaid worth 70 million Beri. But it was such a low price, but no one dared to bid with him. Another bidder was 500 million. The celestial dragon was even beaten to the point of death. Not to mention that he had such terrifying strength. The most powerful person in her eyes, Captain Luffy, was a big pirate with a bounty of 300 million, and he was directly punched by him. Fly. Zoro even said that he couldn't even catch the opponent's move, and Sanji was also slapped away. Faced with such a situation, Nami could not even think of the possibility of saving Kemi. The only hope, that is, the man in front of me shows his mercy. Yeah, 100 Baileys. Chulan said, "Then do you want to hear my quotation now?" "Certainly." Nami said firmly, "No matter what the price is." "Very well," he said, 100 belly plus. Plus, Nami clenched her hands in front of her chest, not caring about suppressing the raging waves, and stared at Chulan intently, because the next words would determine whether she could successfully rescue Kemi. I saw the man in front of me slowly stretched out a finger and said softly, "Plus, a kiss from you. I just want to be a quiet Tianlong person." Author, Dai Tianlong. Chapter 12. Varied, what? Nami took a few steps back. She couldn't believe what she heard. She covered her mouth tightly with both hands. There was shock, confusion, and the slightest movement in her eyes. "Damn it, you guy, what are you talking about?" Sanji finally climbed out of the ruins. Except for some nosebleeds on his face, he was not seriously injured. "Miss Nami's first kiss was mine. How could I give it to someone like you?" Chulan rolled up her sleeves, preparing to put in more force and push Sanji, the 10,000-year-old spare tire, farther away. Before Sanji could get up, she heard Nami shout loudly, "Sanji, don't move." "Miss Nami." Sanji looked up and looked at Nami desperately. "Sanji, don't be impulsive." Nami explained, "If we attract the Admiral, not only will we not be able to save Kemi, but we will all die. What's more, you are no match for him." "But..." Sanji wanted to say something else, but Nami interrupted him directly, walked quickly to Chulan, raised her head, and asked seriously, "Is everything you said true?" Chulan, a gentleman's words. Nami. "Okay, you guys don't have a broad and profound idiom culture, I'll pick it up myself. A horse is hard to catch." "Well, you don't seem to have many horses." Although she didn't understand what Chulan said, Nami still got the meaning. Immediately, Nami closed her eyes, stood up on tiptoes, and held Chu Ian's arms with both hands. Nami's neck, she pressed her red lips on it. They were separated at the touch of a touch. How could Chulan let her succeed? She threw away Kemi in her hand, then put her backhand around Nami's slender waist that violated the human body structure, and pulled her. She pulled her into her arms again, lowered her head, and pressed it hard. Nami's eyes widened in shock. After an unknown amount of time, Chulan let go of the out-of-breath girl in her arms, and said with a smile, "Thanks for treatment." Nami blushed, and flexibly took out a coin from a gully where she should have taken out a gun, and threw it to Chulan, saying, "This is 100 Baileys, the transaction is completed." Of course, Chulan put away the coins, threw her a small phone bug and a stone tablet rubbing of the original historical text, and said, "Remember to contact me when you miss me." In Kemi's resentful eyes, Chulan stepped forward and left the auction hall. Hidden merit and fame. "Damn it," Sanji came to Nami's side in an instant and asked with concern, "Miss Nami, are you okay? Are you injured?" secretly put away the phone bug and said calmly, "It's okay, Kemi has been rescued, let's go quickly." "Miss Nami, your first kiss." Sanchishi's face was full of bullshit. Nami kicked him angrily, "None of your business." Walking out of the auction house, Chulan was in a happy mood. She glanced at Usopp and Robin falling from the sky, shook her head with a smile, and turned to leave. With that page of original historical text, the two of them will always meet again. Not far away, a group of Navy was rushing towards the auction house. In the auction house, after Chulan left the hall, Saint Rose Waiter naturally stopped groveling and showed the proud side of the Tianlong people. He held his unconscious son in his arms and shouted loudly, "Guard, where are the guards? Catch all these pirates quickly." As a noble celestial dragon, a group of pirates saw how ugly and groveling he was. On the other hand, no matter what he said, he could not let the people present walk out of the venue alive. Behind the hall, the guards who were too frightened by Chulan to come forward quickly rushed out and rushed towards Luffy and others. Just when Luffy Zoro was having a great time fighting a group of rookies, the ceiling above his head suddenly shattered, and a familiar voice echoed through the sky. "Luffy! Help! Ha ha ha, Usopp," Luffy shouted happily. "Ah, I'm going to die, I'm going to die." Usopp burst into tears and fell to the ground. Then, he froze on the spot and said, "Hey, doesn't it hurt? What happened?" Usopp rubbed his head and stood up from the ground. Carulia Palace on the side had a look of horror on his face. He pointed at him with trembling fingers and stared at Usopp's butt. Under his butt, she was lying. "Father! Don't look at me like that, I'm embarrassed." Usopp rubbed his nose, a little embarrassed. Looking down, he realized that there was a person sitting under his butt. "Ah, I'm sorry, are you okay?" Usopp apologized, hid behind Luffy, and said tremblingly, "Luffy, I see a lot of Marines outside have gathered here, let's run away." "Real?" Luffy punched a guard away. This time he was no longer reckless. He nodded and said, "Let's go." Picking up the injured Haki and Kemi, everyone pushed the guards away and ran out the door. But at this moment, a powerful aura suddenly appeared behind everyone. Luffy subconsciously looked back and saw only the guards. They all fell to the ground and fell unconscious. Behind the wall of the high platform in the auction house, an old man with a white beard slowly walked out. "Oh, the time of appearance seems not right," the old man with the white beard smiled and said. "Why, after finally meeting each other, are you leaving without even saying hello?" "Straw Hat Luffy. Pluto Rayleigh is here. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I just want to be a quiet Tianlong person." Author, Dai Tianlong. Chapter 13. Outside the auction house, Chulan met the oncoming navy. See Lord Chulan's hung. The vice admiral who led the team, Dalmesia, knelt down directly in front of Chulan. "Get up." Chulan asked what happened in such a hurry. Dalmesia replied, reporting to Lord Chulan's hung, "There is news that Straw Hat Luffy has a bounty worth 300 million, Pirate Kid has a bounty of 315 million, and the bounty is 200 million Baileys. Thieves, Trafalgar Law all gathered in the human body auction house. University of St. Petersburg, Rosewood." Dalmesia quickly changed her mind. No one from Tianlong can be called an adult in front of Chulan. Rosewater Saint and other celestial dragons were also in the venue. There were reports that pirates were attacking Rosewater Saint, and General Kizaru was also on the way. After reporting the military situation, Dalmesia hurriedly added, "I didn't expect you, Lord Chulan's hung, to be here too. I'm so glad you're okay." Chulan responded calmly. "Do you need your subordinates to escort you back to the Holy Land?" "Need not." But, Dalmesia hesitated to speak. Obviously, compared with the safety of the Tianlong people, protecting the safety of Lord Chu Lan's hung is more important. Do not bother me, Chu Lan ordered. Go and do your business. The pirates you mentioned are all in the auction house. If you go late, those losers will be beaten to death. Hearing this, Dalmatia's expression changed drastically. After saluting Chu Lan again, she hurried towards the auction house. Dar, Chu Lan shouted. Dalmatia suddenly ran back and knelt down. Sir Chu Lan, do you have any other orders? Go check it out. If the slug is still alive, tell Magellan and send him directly to Impel Down. Just say it was my order. Yes. Dalmatia broke out in a cold sweat, hurriedly performed a naval salute, turned around and left in a hurry. Of course he knew who the slug in Chu Ian's mouth was, but, want me to send a celestial dragon to an undersea prison? Isn't this going to cost me my life? Who I am? I am Dalmatia. Who is Dalmatia? It's the Vice Admiral. Who is Dalmatia who sent the celestial dragons into Impel Down? It's a dead admiral. Dalmatia panicked. Should I report this matter to the general? Forget it, let's report it directly to the Warring States Marshal. Let the Marshal worry about it. This kind of thing is not something that a little lieutenant general like me can afford. Dalmatia left stiffly, walking towards the auction house as if he were dead, to carry out the most unbelievable order in his life, to arrest the Tianlong people. However, he had to do it and did not dare not to do it, because this was the order of Master Chu Lan's hung. After all, although the identity of Saint Charlos is noble, compared with Lord Chu Lan, no, the identities of the two are basically the same as heaven and earth. There is no comparison at all. Inside the auction house, Riley looked at the people preparing to run away, feeling slightly embarrassed. Originally a super domineering appearance, taking action to save the imprisoned mermaid girl, immediately gained a wave of goodwill, and the image of a worldly master was also established. As a result, who would have known that the imprisoned mermaid girl had been rescued, and even the explosive collar around her neck had been removed? This made Rayleigh a little confused. How did you untie this collar? Domineering. No, 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 it's impossible, it must be a lock opened with a key. But when he saw the collar chopped into pieces on the ground, his eyes sharpened instantly, he subconsciously looked at Zoran, and then shook his head. It's not him, he doesn't have the strength to cut off the collar yet. Hey, old man, what's that look in your eyes? Zoran's bad temper can stand this contemptuous look, and he will draw his sword and kill people on the spot. Zorro, Nami slapped him on the head. What to do? Take a good look. Isn't he the ship repairman we are looking for? Ha, Zoran looked carefully and still didn't see it, but he didn't do anything again. It was indeed Raleigh. Little Adi is very happy. Ha 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 ha, it's a good thing for a young man to have energy. Rayleigh laughed loudly and turned to look at Luffy. You must be Straw Hat Luffy. I've heard a lot of stories about you from the redhead. Shanks? Luffy said in surprise, Uncle, do you know Shanks? Ha, of course I do. Riley nodded and said, however, this is not a good place to reminisce about the past. Come with me. Lila turned around and left first. Everyone looked at each other and followed him, escaping from the auction house. I just want to be a quiet Tianlong person. Author, Dai Tianlong. Chapter 14. Stroll around the Shampoo Islands. The scenery between different trees is slightly different. A large number of naval forces have entered the island. The criminals who were originally hiding in the 1-29 GR area on the island have begun to flee, and the atmosphere is full of panic and tension. The fleeing pirates formed a sharp contrast with Chu Ian's leisurely figure. Countless leaflets floated down from the sky. Chu Lan raised her hand to catch one. It had Ace's handsome smiling face on it, and the time and date of the execution were marked below. This is a declaration of war. The Navy headquarters officially declares war on the Whitebeard pirates. As for what Chu Lan thinks about this matter, of course she just sits and watches. He had already informed warring states to add an extra seat on the high platform above the seats of the three generals. How tiring it is to stand and watch. Although Chu Lan liked Ace very much, if he directly ordered the warring states period to stop this execution, the warring states period would be reluctant, but he would definitely give him the face in the end. But why stop it? How boring it would be if I stopped such a big excitement. As the pinnacle battle in One Piece, Chu Lan doesn't want to miss this live broadcast. However, before watching the fun, he still has one thing to do. His little Loli and Big Bear have not been found yet. Chu Lan looked at the direction and walked towards GR number 24. The Red Earth continent, the Holy Land of Mary Joya. World Government Headquarters. The soldiers were reporting to the warring states marshal what happened in the Chambord Islands. Marshal, according to reports, all the Pirate 11 supernovas are gathered in the Shampoo Islands at the moment. The prisoners who harmed the Draco people at the human body auction house are mainly Straw Hat Luffy, Eustace Kid, Trafalgar, Logo 3 captains and their crews. Warring States propped himself up on the table with a constipated look on his face and cursed, "Damn it, what on earth do these pirates want to do? Don't you know this is a special period?" Kizaru on the side was holding a cup of hot tea and drinking it sluggishly, looking like a salted fish. As for the other idle fish Garpio, he was sent to the Marinfondo by the Warring States period because he made too much noise while eating senbei. Prepare in advance, not to mention that this kind of thing about the celestial dragons has nothing to do with Garp, a humble lieutenant general. No matter what, we can't do it without taking action against the world's nobles. Sengoku-san, Kizaru finally put down the teacup. "I'll go out, don't worry, I'll be back soon. Be sure to pay attention." Warring States looked serious and said the eyewitness report said that Chu Lan's Hung is currently active in the Xiongbo Islands. If you see Mr. Chu Lan's Hung, his safety must be the first priority. Chu Lan's Hung, sir. Kizaru waved his hand indifferently, and his figure suddenly turned into light and disappeared, leaving only a voice echoing in the room. "Don't worry, he is not the same kind as those Tianlong people." GR number 24. The original lawless zone now becomes even more lawless. The Shampoo Islands were the only supply point when entering the New World through the Red Continent. For the sake of balance between the pirates and the Navy deliberately forgot about this area and never sent too many soldiers to station. There are usually not too many big pirates in this area. This time it can only be said to be a coincidence or an accident. In order to ensure the smooth progress of the execution, most of the Navy's troops are stationed in Marineland to prepare for the attack of the Whitebeard pirates. There are not many troops in the Shampoo Islands at all. The rising pirate stars in the first half of the Grand Line saw this opportunity of weak naval protection and gathered here one after another, looking for opportunities to enter the New World. With the influx of countless big pirates, the security here has naturally become even more chaotic. Of course the Navy knew about this, but these pirates were relatively worry-free and no one went too far. But, who could have known that at this critical moment, there would be a reckless man who dared to attack the Tianlong people? This wave of operations directly caused the original balance to be broken. In order to protect the Tianlong people, a large number of navies were urgently dispatched and entered the lawless zone for suppression. The Navy's highest combat power, the general, was also dispatched and descended on the Chambord Islands. The admirals are here. For the little pirates in the first half of the Grand Line, it is simply a disaster. What to do? All we can do is run. Except for that fool who wanted to assassinate the general with a crude gun, who would dare not run away. A large number of Marines went to capture the Straw Hats, but Luffy said that I was really unjust. I really didn't do anything. It was Usopp who did it first. I won't bear this responsibility. Usopp: yes, you are right. As for Chu Ian's existence, there is not much news out. For the Warring States period, Chu Yan's fight against the Tianlong people was like the emperor's fight against his own people. How could he get involved in a family matter? He was already burning incense before he was asked to send the celestial dragons to travel to Impel City. I just want to be a quiet Tianlong person. Author, Dai Tianlong. Chapter 15. Number 24 GR, Speak Easy. As soon as the news of the naval landing came, the pirates in the tavern put down their bottles and ran away in an instant. In the entire tavern, there was only one lady with long pink hair eating and drinking, kicking her long legs around and shouting. "Food, haven't you brought the food yet? Go and get it for me. You can't keep up with my speed at all. Another pizza." The tavern owner wiped the corners of his eyes and shed sad tears. This was not because no one paid, but because the knife on his neck was a little cold. The door of the tavern suddenly became dark, and when she noticed the movement, Chiao Alaboni swallowed with the pizza in his mouth. He looked up. A man wearing a black kendo uniform walked in, with a strange long knife hanging on his waist. The moment he stepped into the tavern, the whole room fell into an eerie silence. Their eyes met. The man suddenly smiled like a spring breeze. "Annie, I finally found you." Chiao Alaboni was stunned for a moment, then realized that he was calling her. Her face suddenly darkened, and she warned. "Boy, do you want to die? My name is not Annie." As a big eater who loves to eat, not only was she interrupted during her meal, but she was also called the wrong name. Her temper was already explosive. If she hadn't realized that the man in front of her was not simple, she would have taken action. "Of course you are not Annie, but that's because I haven't found a little bear for you yet." Chu Lan said with a smile, "The bounty is 140 million Baileys, the generation of evil, one of the 11 supernovas, Soba Kingdom, Chiao Alaboni, am I right?" Chiao Alaboni's face was serious. It was not surprising that someone knew her name, bounty, and other information, but she never expected that someone would know her relationship with the Soba Kingdom. She put down the food in her hand and asked seriously, "Who the hell are you?" "I am the person responsible for spoilers," Chu Lan said with a smile, "just an ordinary Tian." Before she could finish her words, the crew member behind Chiao Alaboni couldn't bear it any longer. He drew his sword and slashed at Chu Lan, shouting, "Boy, you dare to delay our captain's meal, go to hell." As a crew member under an irritable captain, of course you have to have a bad temper. What a pity, wrong time, place, person. Bang. There was a loud noise, and the pirate who jumped out to attack Chu Lan was kicked out by his captain, smashing through the wall of the tavern, leaving only a huge hole. "The person is most likely gone." Chu Lan continued said, "You can call me Chu Lan. If you like, you can add St. Chu Lan, Saint." Chiao Alaboni's face changed drastically, "Dragon people." "You can say that." Chu Lan smiled and nodded. Chiao Alaboni took a deep breath and asked, "What is the purpose of the Tianlong people coming to me?" Chu Lan did not answer, but asked, "What is the purpose of your coming to Shampoo Islands?" "Have a meal," Chiao Alaboni replied instantly. Chu Lan rolled her eyes, "What a fool. Why the hell didn't you say you were here for a trip? Sign up now and get a free one-day trip to Push City. Do you want it?" For Chiao Alaboni everyone thought she was just an ordinary pirate, but Chu Lan knew that her identity was very mysterious. The question just now was actually about wanting to know what she wanted to do when she came to the Shampoo Islands this time. In the New World, there are still other plans. But looking at the current situation, even if she is captured and tortured, she will not be able to get anything done with her explosive temper that dares to confront Akainu in person. "Do you want to go to the New World?" Chu Lan asked. "Certainly." "Any idea how to get there?" Chu Lan asked again. "Of course I know." She couldn't help but look like a fool. How could a pirate not know how to get to the New World? Of course it was through the huge cave under the Red Continent and from Fishman Island. Before she could complain, hearing Chulan continue, want to change the route? Take Marijo without having to change boats. Joe Alipone. What the hell? Go to Marijo? I do not want to live. How could the Navy allow pirates to enter the New World through the dedicated channel of the Holy Land Marijoa? Do not believe, Chulan smiled and said, don't forget my identity. Chiao Alaboni's eyes widened and her mouth opened. She finally remembered the identity of the man in front of her. The Celestial Dragon. The Holy Land of Marijoa is his home. If she allows it, the Navy can't say anything more. Fishman Island, it's so dangerous. There are countless sea kings under the sea. If you encounter them, you will definitely die without any body. If you can take the safest route, who would want to take the road of death with only a 30% success rate? But Chiao Alaboni asked seriously, what is your purpose? Do you want to trick me into going to Marijo, and then kill all my fleet? Catch your entire fleet in one fell swoop? Chulan smiled and bent down, and said coldly, is it worthy? Not worthy, Chiao Alaboni shook her head. For the Tianlong people, the whole world belongs to them. How could their own pirate group come into their sight? Since you don't want my fleet, what is your purpose? Chiao Alaboni suddenly became mute and covered her red lips with a look of shock. Could it be me? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I just want to be a quiet Tianlong person. Author, Dai Tianlong. Chapter 16. What a fart. Chulan scolded, how old are you? Haven't you counted the coins? Even if your age is not taken into account, you can only be a concubine at most with your bad temper. Of course, if you can maintain your Lolita form, we can do anything. Easy to say. So what do you want? Chiao Alaboni looked aggrieved. I just need one thing from you. What's up? Have a fight with a cute pet bear. If you win, I will send you to the New World, Chulan said. Beat a pet bear, Chiao Alaboni frowned, it's that simple. Certainly, Chulan smiled mysteriously, turned around and walked towards the door, become a Lolita and follow me. From now on, your name will be Annie. Chiao Alaboni frowned. Although this request is a bit strange, turning into a loli will not affect her combat power. She didn't say anything at the moment, and quickly shrunk into a cute little loli. Go up. As for fighting, isn't it just a pet bear? Can't I even beat a bear? As an arrogant pirate queen, she doesn't think she will lose. She turned her head and glanced at the little loli next to her. Chulan nodded with satisfaction and turned her into a Lolita, just to make the picture look more harmonious. It was definitely not that Chulan wanted to feel the happiness of the two worlds of a Lolita queen. We are not that kind of people. After one person and one bear met, that scene would definitely be extremely interesting. However, before Chulan could walk out of the tavern door, the roar of artillery shells suddenly came to her ears. It was not a sound, but a very dense bombing sound. The next second, a large number of artillery shells fell from the sky, covering the entire tavern. The entire building was instantly razed to the ground. Chulan came outside in a flash, frowned and looked at the shadowy figure behind the tavern. There was no other person around, and on this island, who else could unleash so much firepower on his own but Capone Becky, the captain of the flame tank pirates. Joe Alibani. Capone Becky shouted loudly, you only have so little firepower, you won't be killed by me, right, ha 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 ha. Capone Becky, Chiao Alaboni opened the broken roof and said angrily, you are looking for death. Firepower, the firepower difference is too big. Capone Becky laughed, all your crew members are dead. There is a huge difference in firepower between us. I can kill you by myself. Then come and try it, I have long disliked you, you are a rude-looking woman. Before, in the tavern, Kapanabeki was furious at this woman who was sitting in the middle of the hall eating and drinking without any signs of food. However, in order not to cause a big commotion and attract the navy, he did not take action. But now, the navy has landed, and taking this opportunity to deal with this annoying woman is exactly what he wants to do. Hello. A voice suddenly rang in his ears. Don't you think your appearance was very untimely? Kapanbaki suddenly turned his head and looked at the only survivor in the tavern. This woman's subordinate. You were able to escape from my uncle's gunfire. That's quite a feat. However, that's about it. Go to hell. He shouted, and several small holes suddenly opened in his chest. As a castle fruit user, he could turn his men, cannons, and even horses into minis and hide them in his body. Several soldiers pull the cannon and aim at Chulan from the gap in his chest. The power of the cannon in the pirate world will fluctuate according to actual needs. When it is weak, no one can hit or kill anyone, just any little guy. It can bully a cannon. But when it is strong, it is the main attack method of the demon-slaying order. Normally it can only hit a small soldier, but at that time it could kill an ability user with a bounty of hundreds of millions. It can only be said that this is Schrodinger's cannonballs. Seeing Kapanbeki attack Chulan, Chiao Alaboni's face changed drastically. Before she could rush over, she saw the cannonballs being brushed away by Chulan. Seeing that her cannonballs had no effect at all, Kapanbeki was furious instantly, but he was not too surprised. After all, the captain of the other party was a pirate with a higher bounty than him. It should be strange that there is no crew member with such strength. Since ordinary artillery shells are useless to you, let's try more powerful firepower. Without any hesitation, Kapanbeki opened his hands, made a yo-yo-yo gesture, and shouted loudly. Big boss. The devil fruit ability was activated instantly, and the body structure suddenly changed. A huge mobile fortress appeared in front of everyone. Countless cannon barrels changed directions at the same time, and countless cannonballs were shot out of his body, pointed directly at Chulan. I just want to be a quiet Tianlong person. Author, Dai Tianlong. Chapter 17. What a hindrance. Chulan sighed, holding the handle of the knife with her right hand, bending down, lunging, and pushing her left foot slightly on the ground. The next moment, the ground exploded. Countless shells hit the ground, and the ground shook violently, with the number 23GR written on it. The main trunk of the mangrove tree was crumbling under the bombardment of massive artillery shells. However, Chu Ian's figure had long since disappeared. Where? Kapanbaki's huge eyes moved crazily, searching for Chu Ian's figure. At this. At the head of the huge war fortress, Chu Ian's figure suddenly appeared, and the demon sword in his hand had been unsheathed. Boy, go to hell. On the castle, all the cannon barrels violated the laws of physics and instantly changed their directions and aimed at Chulan. It's you who deserve to die. Chulan held the handle of the knife with both hands at the same time, and endless purple flames suddenly emerged from the blade. At this moment, Chulan seemed to transform into a hell shura. One knife, cut down. The purple flames combined with the unparalleled slashing strike, the supreme power. The sharp sword kite struck hard at the neck of the huge castle. The body made of hard steel and rock was as fragile as soft tofu under this blow, and the entire castle was split into two. Cut in two with one knife. Countless people. The gravel fell, and with a loud bang, the broken war fortress fell to the ground. How can it be? Kapanbaki vomited blood, and the huge body that was cut in half slowly approached, trying to connect it again. But Chu Ian's slash was not just a simple physical attack. Countless purple flames lingered on the wound, it kept burning his body. After a few seconds, its body slowly stopped struggling, and its huge fortress-like body slowly shrank and returned to its original appearance. Bounty, 138 million Baileys, gangster, Kapenbeki. Dead. Not far away, Chiao Alaboni, who was preparing to fight Kapenbeki for 300 rounds, her sharp chin fell to the ground, and her wide eyes perfectly expressed her shock. It turned out that this is the correct way to express shock. Chu Lan said that she learned another useless knowledge. Ah! That's it? That's it, died. Chiao Aliponi couldn't accept this fact at all. The man who died in front of her was not a little guy, but a person with a bounty of 138 million Baileys, a devil fruit user, and the great pirate Kapenbeki. But such a powerful pirate, in just a few seconds, was he hacked to death? And the opponent only made one move from the beginning to the end. What kind of strength does it take to do such a thing? It's impossible for a vice admiral to do that, right? If you want to kill a pirate with a bounty of over 100 million, you can only do it with the help of an admiral, right? Could it be? Does he have the strength of an admiral? Chiao Alaboni looked at the man standing in the ruins in front of her and couldn't believe her guess. How is it possible? Aren't all the celestial dragons powerless? Are you afraid that you are a fake Tianlong? The violent explosion and battle fluctuations attracted a group of soldiers nearby, and the leader was not an outsider, it was none other than Rear Admiral Cameo, who was on the warship he was traveling on. The burning flame slowly extinguished, Chu Lan sheathed her sword and waved to Shengui not far away. More than 10 meters away, a sliding shovel came directly to Chu Lan and knelt down in front of Chu Lan, saying happily, "Lord Chu Lan's hung, it's great that you are okay." Chu Lan nodded and said, "Clean up the scene, extract the devil fruit from this person's body, and send it to my palace." "I obey," Lord Chu Lan's hung Agio saluted respectfully. When he saw that the corpse on the ground turned out to be Kapenbeki, one of the 11 supernovas, he was still shocked. After today, the 11th supernovae will probably become the top 10 supernovae. I didn't expect Master Hulanchen to be so powerful. Ueio bowed respectfully again and began to direct the soldiers behind him to search for intact fruits in the tavern in preparation for recycling. When a devil fruit user dies, the blood factor will leave the organism and the blood factor of the fruit will reattach to the fruit, turning the fruit into a devil fruit. As a major general, he is certainly not qualified to know how to recover devil fruits. However, while accompanying Chu Lan on the protagonist's tour in the process, many weak fruit ability users were solved. Under Chu Ian's education, he had already learned how to recycle devil fruits. Master Chu Lan's hung, this pirate lady, Cameo asked Chu Lan for his opinion. He had already recognized the little lowly next to him as one of the top 10 supernovas with a bounty of 140 million berries, Chiao Aliponi. Chu Lan waved her hand. "Don't worry about her, I'm still useful." "Yes." Shangui saluted and retreated. Chu Lan called to the female pirate beside him and said, "Annie, come with me." "I'm Bonnie, not Annie." Chiao Alaboni muttered a few words and followed Chu Lan honestly to leave. "I just want to be a quiet Tianlong person." Author, Dai Tianlong. Chapter 18. GR number 27. The extremely thick number 27 red branch slowly fell down in the fierce fire. On the fountain in the center of the square, a man with a slumped face, holding a stack of tarot cards in his hand, was telling his fortune. In front of him, a tall man wearing a yellow striped suit, a turtle with the word justice written on it, and a pair of yellow-rimmed glasses asked politely, "Could you please excuse me for a moment? I want to ask you something. I'm looking for a man named Jean Momomaru. Have you met him? Defeat rate, 100%, avoidance rate, 76%. The fortune teller raised his head and said calmly, "I don't know that person, go ask someone else." "Oh, it's impossible not to find him." The tall man tilted his head and said, "But I'm relatively free now. I definitely can't let you, the bounty criminal, go at this time, right? Bounty of 249 million Baileys, magician Basil Hawkins. Today, I don't look dead. Hawkins raised his head and looked directly at Admiral Kizaru. Kizaru tilted his head and said casually, speed is weight. Have you ever experienced light speed kick? Call out. A yellow flash suddenly flashed in front of everyone's eyes. Basil Hawkins only had time to squint his eyes, and did not see Kizaru's movements clearly. The whole person disappeared in an instant. Not far away, a building exploded with a huge explosion. A hole appeared in front of everyone. Before the instant kill was over, a dazzling light condensed in Kizaru's hand, and he hit it twice. A violent explosion sounded, and all the pirates present were shocked and speechless by the scene. This, that is, the Navy's highest combat power, the strength of Admiral Kizaru. Among the ruins, Hawkins walked out of it unscathed. As a cursed fruit user, he can replace the attacks he received with a scarecrow. Even an admiral have to hit him 10 times to kill him. He is a relatively difficult opponent. The scarecrow used as a substitute for death slowly fell out of his body. Hawkins looked solemn and said, I didn't expect that 2 of them have been killed. It takes 10 to kill him. I really feel a little guilty when dealing with a general. At this moment, the muscular man with cute angel wings, the weird monk, Urki, fell from the sky. Not only that, Red Flag Dies Dorego and DJ Yin Apu appeared almost at the same time. At this moment, 4 supernovas with a bounty of over 100 million gathered together. Face off against the Navy Admiral, Kizaru. Karma. The appearance of subduing the devil. Become a Tyrannosaurus. I'm a DJ. All the supernovas used their biggest killing moves and pounced on Kizaru. 12 gr. Chulan leaned leisurely on the branches of a huge mangrove tree, cutting the watermelon in his hand with a ghost cutter, and while eating, he watched PX-4 violently torture the Straw Hat Boy and his group. Beside him, Rory Jo Alipone watched the battle below nervously, broke open a watermelon and stuffed it into her mouth, and asked vaguely. Hey, Chulan, the bear you are talking about is not the guy below, right? Of course not. That's good. Chiao Aliboni breathed a sigh of relief. I thought you wanted me to fight the Shisabukai. That is just a copy of Bartholomew Bear. The opponent I found for you is the original bear. Jo Alipone. Replica? My true self? What is this person talking about? Chiao Eli quickly looked down. At this moment, under the combined attacks of Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, the figure finally slowly fell down. A trace of profound sadness flashed in Chiao Apenai's eyes, but when she saw the mechanical sparks coming out of the big bear, she realized that this guy was really not the real person. Just a robot with the appearance of a tyrant. Her face turned dark immediately. Although I am very strong, she is not strong enough to face the Shisabukai. Didn't you see that the Straw Hat Boy with more than twice the bounty as mine was tortured by a clone? You let me come? Or fight with the stronger one? You can do it, but I can't do it anyway. Chiao Aliboni turned around and left, but as soon as she took a step, the cold blade was pressed against her fair and slender neck, which immediately aroused goosebumps. Hello, Chiao Aliboni turned around and shouted, what on earth do you mean? If you want me to die, just do it. Why do you have to let Big Bear do it for you? Speak carefully. Chulan took out her ears and said, have you forgotten my name? Call me master. I'm calling you. Before the kind greetings were spoken, the blade on his neck cooled down a few degrees. Chiao Aliboni gritted her teeth and slowly spit out 2 words. Owner. Wrong tone. Owner. Wrong tone, no emotion. Chiao Aliboni took a deep breath, showed the sweetest smile in her life, and shouted softly. Master. Chulan nodded with satisfaction. Yes, it has that flavor. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I just want to be a quiet Tianlong person. Author, Dai Tianlong. Chapter 19. Master, are you really kidding? Xiao Alaboni asked in a low voice. I'm really no match for the Shishibukai. Bartholomew Bear can kill me with just one slap. Do not worry. Chulan gave her a meaningful look. How could he let it go? He, what are you talking about? Xiao Alaboni's face changed, and she smiled awkwardly. Why is he reluctant to part with it? He is a Shishibukai. Then we'll see. Chulan smiled happily. You. Xiao Alaboni turned away angrily and stopped paying attention to him. What kind of master did I have to deal with? He is not my master. Fight against the Shishibukai. Do I look like such a fool? I don't believe you can keep looking at me. I will run away as soon as I find a chance. Then let you, a hateful Tianlong, fight the big bear on your own. It would be better to die. However, he is obviously a noble celestial dragon. Why would he take action against the Shishibukai? Isn't the Shishibukai a partner of the navy? Xiao Alaboni was puzzled, shook her head, and determined her goal. Better run. Just when Zhou Alipone was trying to find a way to escape, two more figures appeared on the battlefield, the clone of Bartholomew Bear, PX-1, and the one that looked like a woman, sounded like a woman, but was actually a real man. Sumo wrestler, Battle Momomaru. At this time, Jean Momomaru was holding a phone bug and spraying it wildly. Old man, aren't you carrying a phone bug? Why don't you contact me? What on earth are you doing? Aren't you already on the island? What? How many times have I told you, black phone bugs are for eavesdropping, not for communication. Forget it, let's get to work quickly. I found Straw Hat Luffy. On the other side, number 24 GR. Kizaru gave the monitoring phone bug on his wrist a slap in the face without changing his expression, and his body turned into light and disappeared. The supernovas with a bounty of over 100 million were lying on the ground, and the naval soldiers who were rushed over one by one, they were tied up and taken away in seafloor stone handcuffs. In the battle against the General Kizaru, a powerful team of 4 supernovas all used their ultimate moves and successfully caused 1 point of damage to Kizaru. Then, Kizaru kicked them one by one and killed them all instantly. It was very shameless. Number 12 GR. The battle below is nearing its end. Luffy and his team, who had tried their best to kill a PX-4, were already exhausted. At this time, they encountered Momomaru and the new pacifist PX-1 again, and were immediately defeated. Chulan looked very happy on the tree and had no intention of helping. The purpose of his coming here is not to be a nanny and save the Straw Hats, but to change the development process of the world a little for his own sexual life. Master Chulan's hung. A strange voice suddenly sounded, and a tall figure suddenly appeared next to the two of them. Xiao Alaboni was startled and yelled on the spot. Damn it, you scared me, do you want to die? After seeing clearly who the hot man was, he slowly turned around, faced the tree trunk in front of him, and continued to curse. It turns out it's you, a broken tree, who dares to scare me. I'll kill you if I don't. Then, he got into a fight with the tree. The bounty is 140 million Baileys, and the gluttonous girl is Zhou Ali. Kizaru tilted his head and looked at her several times, and Xiao Alaboni broke into a cold sweat. Lord Chulan's hung, with such a dangerous bounty prisoner, the warring states marshal is very worried about you. Who is speaking? Chulan didn't even raise her head, she leaned on the tree, folded her hands on her chest, and said with a half smile. Standing so high, I can't even see who you are. The corners of Kizaru's mouth twitched slightly, and he looked at the leisurely man in front of him. He struggled for a few seconds, slowly bent his knees, and then, gently, placed them on the ground. Kneel down on one knee. Lord Chu Lanzhong, can you see clearly who I am now? Chu Lan raised his head and said with a smile, Kizaru. The Navy Admiral, nominally as a subordinate of the Tianlong people, protecting the Tianlong people is one of their most important responsibilities. If the Tianlong people are harmed, they must attack. Apart from that, the two usually don't have any intersection at all. Even if they meet, no general will take the initiative to kneel to the Tianlong people, and the Tianlong people will not force the generals to kneel down and salute. Unless they are mentally retarded to a certain extent. However, this kind of thing has not happened yet. After all, if they offend their own protective umbrella, if the general is perfunctory or does not take action, they will be the ones who suffer. However, Chu Lan is an exception. Unless they get Chu Lan with permission, everyone must express respect for him when they see him. This is an order from the world government, the 5 old stars. Even a general cannot violate it. Kizaru knelt down on one knee and continued to ask Lord Chu Lanzhong, you haven't explained why there is a pirate with a bounty of over 100 million next to you. Chu Lan raised her eyes and said, I need to explain something to you. I just want to be a quiet Tianlong person. Author, Dai Tianlong. Chapter 20. Kizaru narrowed his eyes slightly and said in a cold voice. Master Chu Lanzhong, you must pay attention to safety, these pirates are not easy to deal with. Chu Lan ignored him and said casually. If they don't take action, the Straw Hat pirates will escape. Kizaru glanced at the battle below. The scattered Straw Hats were about to escape from the encirclement. According to the report, someone in the Straw Hat pirates did seriously injure Rosewater Saint. Although it was not confirmed who it was, all of them were the arrest was definitely correct. If they escaped, how could the Navy headquarters raise its head in front of the Tianlong people? Not to mention that Chu Lanzhong was watching them here. Kizaru's body turned into light again, and the next second, the escaping a dazzling ball of light appeared in front of Saran. A finger slowly stretched out from the ball of light, and then, a ray of light penetrated his body. Cough. Zoro screamed in pain, spit out a mouthful of blood, and fell directly to the ground. The light dissipated, and the famous actor Porisalino officially appeared. He stepped on Zoro's body, and the dazzling light condensed on his legs. It was clear that he could crush Zoro to death with just one foot, but he refused to step down and allowed Usopp and Brook to attack him with weapons. He leisurely explained his devil fruit to the two of them. Ability. On-site outfit comparison. It's too fake, this acting is too fake. Chu Lan smacked her lips. With her acting skills, she won't be able to graduate at all. At most, she will be on par with a little fresh meat who can only pronounce 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Chiao Alaboni saw General Kizaru finally leaving and let go of the 1,000 wounds she had beaten. The tree trunk with hundreds of holes trotted to Chu Lan, grabbed his arm and accused. Hey, you didn't say anything, you didn't say anything about this. You never said the general would come. Ah. Didn't I say that? Chu Lan thought for a moment, and it was true. Then she comforted him, don't worry, the general won't do anything to you as long as I'm here. No, I quit, you let me go, Chiao Alaboni cried, if I stay here any longer, I will definitely be caught and pushed into the city. I haven't realized my dream yet, and I haven't found the One Piece yet. One Piece? Chu Lan asked in surprise, aren't you here to eat? Joe Alipone. Eat your sister's food. There are countless places to eat in the East China Sea, the West China Sea, the South China Sea, the North Sea, and the Great Sea Route. What place is not safer than here? Come to Navy headquarters for dinner? Am I crazy? I just love to eat, there's nothing wrong with my brain. Chiao Alaboni complained a lot in her heart, gently pushed away the cold blade on her neck, and continued to look at the battle below. After an unknown amount of time, the well-known actor Porosalino finally explained his devil fruit ability to everyone. He raised his right foot and finally stepped it down slowly. This is, snail kick. At this time, the retired old man who was responsible for cooperating with his performance, Pluto Rayleigh, finally waited for the most handsome opportunity to appear. The whole person appeared at Kizaru's feet in an instant, kicking away the snail he had been preparing for several minutes. Usopp takes the opportunity to rescue Zoro. Oh, isn't this Pluto Rayleigh? Long time no see, Kizaru. Kizaru screamed a few times and looked at Usopp and others who were escaping. I can't let you run away under my nose. Kizaru held his hands emptily. 8-foot mirror. Lila drew his sword and slashed at Kizaru, who turned into light, and stopped him. I won't let you hinder them. This is really troublesome. Kizaru's fists and palms faced each other, and a yellow lightsaber was pulled out from his palms. Tiankong Yun's sword. The two immediately started fighting fiercely, and the extremely fast and powerful slashes collided with each other without any delay. Actor Kizaru, exit. Admiral, enter. Chu Ian's eyes moved away from the two of them, and turned to BPX again -1 after chasing Zoro under the tree. He took out the camera from his arms. In front of him, a huge figure holding a Bible appeared. If you were to travel, where would you like to go? The gentle voice rang in his ears. The big bear didn't say any nonsense to him, and didn't listen to where he wanted to go. He took off his gloves and gave him a slap with his backhand. As soon as Zoro turned his head, he saw a bear. The palm kept enlarging in his eyes, and then, it slapped him. Rora no Zoro, fly. Click. The moment Zoron was shot flying, the sound of a camera shutter sounded, and his distorted expression was perfectly recorded. Chulan couldn't help laughing. There is new ghost material again. Chiao Alaboni was lying on the tree trunk, staring blankly at the big bear below, with joyful light flowing in her eyes.